A Congress member asked the Attorney General a simple question. Who transferred Ghislaine Maxwell to that prison where sex offenders normally can't go? No answer was given. Was it Mr. Blanche? Was it another one of your officials? Again, there was no response. Bondi said, "I learned this after being transferred." This is a Bureau of Prisons matter. But the real critical point was this. The prison office operates under the Ministry of Justice, and the Minister of Justice was unaware of this transfer. Or at least that's what he said. February 11th, 2026, House Judiciary Committee. North Carolina Representative Deborah Ross brought a timeline and a single question. And if you watch this video until the end, you will understand why that question leads to an unexpected outcome. Ghislaine Maxwell was sentenced to 20 years in prison in 2021 for helping Jeffrey Epstein's criminal network exploit minors. She was being held in a federal prison in Florida. In the summer of 2025, two important things happened. First, Deputy U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche had a two-day meeting with Maxwell. Blanche was also a former personal attorney to President Trump. Secondly, shortly after that meeting, Maxwell was transferred to a minimum security facility in Texas. This facility is known to the public as Club Fed, normally a facility where sex offenders cannot be transferred. And who authorized this transfer? This question went unanswered in the courtroom that morning. If you want to follow this topic, subscribe now and turn on notifications. Because the unanswered questions that emerged in this hearing initiated a new congressional investigation in the coming weeks. The February 11th, 2026 hearing took place on the same day as other sessions we have previously covered in this series. Massey's Wexner redaction conflict, Bondi's refusal to return to the victims, Raskin's big cover-up statement. All of these were on the same day. In the back of the courtroom, Epstein's victims were sitting. They were wearing white clothes. Bondi initially did not look at the victims. Senator Jayapal asked him to turn around and apologize to them, but he refused. "Theater," he said. This painting formed the backdrop for Ross's questions. Ross didn't start with a direct attack. First, he established a principle. Attorney General Bondi, like almost everyone here and across the state, I believe you agree that convicted sex offenders do not deserve special treatment or privileges. A simple sentence. An unavoidable proposition, Bondi confirmed. And at this point, the situation took a different turn, because Ross moved on to the specific topic after getting that approval. And yet, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, ran from privilege to privilege in prison. Yet Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, ran from privilege to privilege in prison. Ross laid out the timeline step by step. July 2025. Maxwell had a two-day meeting with Deputy U.S. Attorney Todd Blanche. Just a few days after that meeting, Maxwell was transferred from a federal prison in Florida to a minimum security facility in Texas. Ross added a detail. This facility is publicly known as Club Fed. And there are reports that Maxwell received special privileges there. Dog time, private exercise, personal mail, secretarial services. Then the question came. Does Justice Minister Bondi believe that a sex offender like Ghislaine Maxwell deserves special treatment and privileges in prison? Yes or no? Yes or no? Bondi replied, "Let me be very clear about this. No." Ross immediately interjected, "Perfect." This single word was strategic. Bondi's no answer was now on the congressional record, and this answer would become the standard for every question thereafter. Ross took a step forward. "I represent the victims, and I want you to know this. Every time they see these privileges reported, the victims sitting in this room feel deprived of justice. They are being re-traumatized." Ross's eyes turned to the victims in the back row. Then he went straight to the question. Who made this transfer decision? Who approved these privileges? Was it Mr. Blanche? Was it another official of yours? It seems your message is empty. Could you please provide the text you'd like me to translate? Bondi's response consisted of three parts. First, I do not accept special treatment. The second, I found out about the transfer later. He was transferred to a facility with the same security level. This is a matter for the Prison Bureau. I have never been involved in this matter. Thirdly, don't try to change the subject, but there is a noteworthy detail here. Bondi said the same level of security. Ross directly questioned this, because according to the records, Maxwell had been transferred from a low-security facility to a minimum-security facility. These two classes are not the same. One of the most controversial elements of this picture was Todd Blanche's position. Blanche conducted those discussions in his capacity as the highest-ranking official of the Department of Justice. But at the same time, he was President Trump's former personal attorney. He personally defended Trump in the classified documents case. So, it was Trump's former lawyer who was questioning Maxwell. According to NBC News, Maxwell said in that interview that Trump did not exhibit inappropriate behavior in social settings in the 1990s. After this information leaked to the public, the question became sharper. Did Blanche really meet to investigate the criminal prosecution? Or was there another purpose? This question was the essence of what Ross wanted to ask in court, and the answer didn't come. Bondi tried multiple times to pull the issue into another case. He repeatedly brought up a case involving the tragic death of a North Carolina woman, a politically charged emotional issue. Ross returned every time. I am dealing with these matters. But right now, you are the one giving the statement here. This is today's purpose. So, of course, we are coming back to you. And Bondi replied, "You can be sure." Ross's response was a single sentence. "Yes, of course. Because you are here to give a statement. That's the purpose of this." This exchange had produced one of the clearest sentences of the trial. I am not here to testify before Congress. You are here. You are here. Ross's last question was about the pardon. Should Donald Trump pardon or commute Maxwell's sentence? Yes or no? You said you hope Maxwell dies in there. I hope the answer is no. Bondi: I've already answered this question. Ross: Nice. I really like this bilateral agreement, but this transaction, while appearing simple from the outside, had significant background. Maxwell's lawyer had stated that her client would cooperate with future congressional committees, but would not testify unless she received a pardon from Trump. This approach turned the issue of a pardon from a technical legal discussion into a potential negotiation and power balance matter. The questions Robert Garcia directed at Pam Bondi did not clarify the U.S. Department of Justice's official stance, but rather proceeded through mutual validation and framing, leaving the crucial question of whether a pardon was on the agenda and how the DOJ was approaching it clearly unanswered. 3 weeks after the hearing, on March 2, 2026, Robert Garcia, Jamie Raskin, and Ro Khanna sent an official letter to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, requesting clarification and records regarding the issues raised during the hearing. The essence of their request was this. Bondi first revealed to Ross that he did not authorize Maxwell's transfer and did not know who authorized it. But in the production of more than 3.5 million pages of documents, there is not a single record documenting Maxwell's transfer or showing who approved it. According to the Prison Bureau's policies, transfer decisions should have been documented. Those documents had not yet surfaced. And the Epstein Files Transparency Act mandated the disclosure of all documents, including Maxwell's prison proceedings. This story has an important continuation. In April 2026, President Trump dismissed Bondi. Who was appointed in his place? Todd Blanche, the former personal attorney of Trump who questioned Maxwell and had a 2-day meeting just before Maxwell's transfer. Now Blanche was both the owner of that meeting and the new head of the DOJ. This development necessitates reading the questions Ross asked in February in a new light. Who approved this transfer? This question remains unanswered. But now the person who is obliged to answer is the very person associated with that transfer. Ghislaine Maxwell's prison conditions may seem like a procedural discussion, but it's not.
Maxwell is seen as the only living person potentially possessing critical information in the ongoing investigations. Names connected to Epstein's network, the financial flows around him, how the organization operated. It is believed that Maxwell would know a significant portion of this information. And Maxwell's lawyer clearly stated that her client would cooperate with Congress, but would not testify unless she received a pardon from Trump. This is a negotiation. One important aspect underlying Ross's questioning of the Club Fed transfer was this. If Maxwell is receiving special privileges, what are those privileges in exchange for? A transfer outside standard protocol and non-standard privileges, there should be documentation for these. And those documents have not yet been found in the 3.5 million pages of production. The privileges Ross listed, dog time, private exercise, personal mail, secretarial services, may seem superficial, but in the federal prison system, these privileges are not standard. Dog therapy programs are available at some facilities, but they are not accessible to everyone. Individual exercise time is a special application compared to group recreation plans. The secretarial support, on the other hand, goes far beyond standard inmate services. Each one needs to be authorized. Someone needs to approve it. Who? This question was left hanging with Bondi's response of, "Ask the Prison Bureau." But the prison office is under the Ministry of Justice, and the head of the Justice Ministry said he was informed later about that transfer. On February 11th, 2026, the questions posed by Ross and the answers given by Bondi were recorded in the congressional record. This record documents that the Attorney General first stated that he did not authorize Maxwell's transfer and did not know who did. The records revealed that Ghislaine Maxwell was transferred to a minimum security facility, which would not normally be appropriate, immediately after a 2-day meeting with Donald Trump's former personal attorney, and that there is no clear record documenting this transfer within the published 3.5 million pages. When these four elements are read together, they raise fundamental questions explaining why there is a demand for further clarification and scrutiny from the public. Ross asked 4 questions that morning. 1 was answered. Bondi agreed that sex offenders do not deserve special treatment. 3 remain unanswered. Who approved this transfer? Who signed off on the privileges? Was Blanche involved? And Bondi's response of, "I later learned it was a prison office matter," shifted the responsibility to another institution. But the transparency law also covers that institution's documents. Those documents are still missing. Victims sitting in the back row say they feel re-traumatized by every reported privilege. Ross recorded this. And now, at a time when Blanche has taken over the Ministry of Justice, that recording carries greater significance. But now, in the period when Blanche has taken over the Ministry of Justice, that record carries greater significance. Because the questions of oversight do not close. Only the addressees are changing. Ross asked Bondi in February. There was no response. Now the same question is about to be directed to Blanche, who is directly connected to that transfer. It is the unanswered question.